Hey there and welcome to Get Indie Gaming. In this week in indie games, I've got a stack of new titles you might want on your wish list, a few releases I'm personally excited for, plus the usual hidden gem and wholesome indie game story to finish things off. Let's dive right in. Let's begin with Gloomy Eyes, announced this past week with it coming from the Belgian developer Fishing Cactus. Now this one's being described as a self-co-op cozy horror adventure with the unmistakable nod towards Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. It tells the story of Gloomy, who's supposedly a sweet zombie boy, and Nina, a mischievous human girl who've made a pact to work together to try and banish the darkness. Players will take control of two different characters, each with their own skills and abilities, with you playing them separately or in some cases at the same time. All of the levels here are handcraft dioramas, with this expected out on all platforms later this year. There's a demo on the game's Steam homepage, and like all the games featured in this week's episode, you can find links down in the video description. Up next, we have the delightful looking Mexican Ninja, which takes place at a time after Mexico and Japan collided in fire, power, and betrayal. Now that's quite the leap of imagination, and yet all silliness aside, this retro-style 2.5D throwback to consoles of the past is something that instantly grabbed my attention. By the looks of things, we have a battler brawler where players will need to use precision, timing, and movement within the combat. There's also roguelike elements at play here, with you able to upgrade your character in accordance with how you best like to play. I'm really excited to see more from this, although sadly at the moment there's no release date, with it listed as coming to PC. Headed out at some point towards the end of the year, the team behind Powerwash Simulator 2 recently showed off a new gameplay trailer, and I'd wager this will be taking liberties with mine and many of your free time when it does eventually drop. Joshua Brown, who works as a senior marketing manager at developers Future Lab, describes the sequel as much of the same as its predecessor. He went on to say the sequel will be casual, wholesome, satisfying, or in other words, more of what players love. There's a new campaign that continues from where the first game ended, as well as a new 2-player split-screen mode, along with the existing 4-player online co-op version. Apparently, the new story will take you outside the confines of Muckingham, taking players several towns away, with you able to interact with a variety of customers and places that need a deep clean. The original was a huge hit within my household, and I fully expect this follow-up to become a mainstay when it drops supposedly in late 2025. At launch, this is headed to PC.
Looking over this decaying world, one can only wonder, how did it all come to this?
Let's move onwards with something from Drinkbox Studios. You might remember them from such indie games as Guacamelee, Severed, and Nobody Saves the World. Blighted was shown off at the Day of Devs showcase in the Summer Games Festival just gone, and it's described as a hardcore action Metroidvania set in a psychedelic Western nightmare. What this seems to mean is the game will use a dynamic difficulty, which shifts and changes depending on the stages of the reality-changing disease your character is apparently inflicted with. Blighted is also expected to feature precise and fast-flowing combat based on combos and finishing moves, with it also offering a single and drop-in-and-out co-op multiplayer. At the moment, there's no word on a release date, with it expected out first on PC. Announced just this past week, Pera Coda is an isometric, story-driven mystery adventure set within the twisting streets of Istanbul's historic district of Pera. From what I can tell, the game is looking to blend the psychological depths of Disco Elysium with the exploration-driven mystery of games such as Outer Wilds, with it also using a looping puzzle mechanic featuring a man stuck within a place that's between life and death. The developers are calling this both a love letter to their city and a universal human story about guilt, regret, and the search for peace rooted in the reimagination of Istanbul. There's no word on a release date, with it headed to PC.
I need to find a way.
And finally, the last game to put on your radar this week, something else from the Summer Game Festival's just gone, and something else I missed first time around. Spooky Express is looking like a cute and adorable looking puzzle game where you're picking up and dropping off creepy cryptids surround a spooky theme park. There's a great little demo up on the game's Steam homepage, and it left me feeling really happy post-play, and like every other good puzzle game, it makes you feel clever for having played it. Spooky Express is expected out towards the end of the year, launching on PC. Let's move along to my picks of the games I'm most looking forward to playing when they launch in the week ahead. Now, if I'm brutally honest, it's a bit of a fallow week for my personal tastes. However, there are a couple I thought I'd quickly mention. Coming out on Friday the 4th, Vampirates looks like a fun wave-based co-op battler set in a pub that's under siege with you needing to feed zombies to a demonic flying otter god. Sure, it's hardly highbrow, but this was one of the 50 games I played in the recent Steam Next Fest, and it stuck in my head long enough to put it on my wishlist, so it clearly did something right. One of the really fun things in this comes from the proximity voice chat. Yes, it can be really annoying, as all such chats can be, but with a good group of folks, it's often good-natured chaos. I suspect this might be a short-lived thing for me, but this week ahead, I can't see anything else coming out for co-op I'd rather play. This is headed out onto PC. Ostriches are notoriously miserable animals. I'm sure if you look close enough and get to know them, they could grow on a person, and yet whenever I've been close enough to them, I know I want to get as far away from them as humanly possible. Why anyone might want to farm these beasts is beyond me, although that's what's on offer here in this Ostrich Farm sim, with you looking to breed the most striking ostriches possible by using selective breeding techniques. The mind boggles on that somewhat. Okay, I'm being deliberately facetious, but this does on paper look to be a decent farm sim manager, and something I honestly never thought I'd have the slightest interest in. It's coming out on PC on Wednesday, July the 2nd. In this part of the show, I like to take a few minutes to showcase an indie game I've played recently that I think deserves a wider audience. This week's choice came out towards the end of March of this year, and currently has fewer than 100 reviews on Steam. Rivertown sees you needing to place parts of a city on a board with limited space. It's best thought of as a hybrid puzzling and city building game, with it offering a decent challenge, particularly as your city expands, with you also then needing to gather gold and other items to use in resource-based gameplay. Visually, I find it really appealing, particularly the animations of the townsfolk and the buildings themselves. I've not had too much time to explore the game's integration within the Steam Workshop, although from what I've seen online, there are plenty of tools which you can come up and generate your own content for this one. I'm honestly happy to suggest this to anyone who likes a good puzzle game, and one that in some situations is a real challenge. Rivertowns is out on PC via Steam. Let's wrap up this episode of This Week in Indie Games with another feel-good game-related news story. Peak came out on June the 16th and has become the most played game in my household of the year so far. As a family, we're close to perhaps needing an intervention on this, as we've all become obsessed by it. As reported by numerous outlets such as PC Gamer and Eurogamer, this budget-friendly title has sold in excess of 2 million copies in 9 days. More than 100,000 of these came within the first 24 hours after its launch, with it also maxing out at a concurrent peak of over 102,000 players. Both of these are terrific achievements, and I'm honestly sure Peak will go on to become a classic of indie gaming. For me, and seemingly the other members of my family, it's co-op gaming perfection. With alongside such games as Overcooked, it just has that right amount of jeopardy in how you play, with it also needing, as could be expected, a high level of support and confidence in your fellow climbers. At times it's laugh out loud funny and sweary under the breath too. Overall, it's a huge delight to play, even in solo mode, and I love how every now and again we get to see these types of games and experiences from smaller developers. So many thanks for watching. Hope you're liking this new series, which as you can see, I'm trying a few new things with each episode. Please let me know what you feel works and what doesn't. I'm open to feedback of all kinds. All the best and see you again here next time.